Hey everyone, it's Brian, and I'm back, and this is my 2021 story. I don't know about you, but 2021 for me has been a year of getting back to normal. I know we're still wearing masks at work, and things aren't back to 100% the way they used to be, but I think we're getting there. I have to say, making these recap videos are my favorite. I love looking back at these pictures and videos and reliving some of the fun times I had with my friends and family. In January, I spent a few days out in Colorado with my friends Dan and Andy. We sure were blessed with some excellent weather, and were able to hike to the top of Sky Pond. This is around a 10-mile hike in Rocky Mountain National Park. And along the way, we encountered some pretty big snowdrifts. Nevertheless, we pressed on and made it to the top. Getting down in tennis shoes after my shoe spikes broke sure made for an interesting experience.
Oh fuck, dude. You have to hang on to that.
Your head was like it.
Was it? Oh god, I'm down.
I had never been to Rocky Mountain Park in the winter, and seeing the mountains with all the snow on them was a special experience for me. We spent some time in Denver and Colorado Springs and met up with Kyle, which worked out great. This sure was a great way to start the new year. In February, Anna and I had a trip planned to go to Florida for her friend's wedding. The wedding ended up getting postponed due to COVID, but we went anyway. We met up with my parents who were already in Florida, and we made our way from the Keys to Orlando. We got to experience Biscayne Bay National Park. This park's pretty unique because it's covered by 95% water, so experiencing it is tough without a boat. The next day we went to the Everglades, which is the southernmost tip of Florida.
Oh, there's a gator right behind you.
Stop it. They're right of water.
We drove all the way to Flamingo, which is the southernmost point in the park, and we took a boat ride to see all sorts of different creatures. Did you know that the Everglades is the only place on Earth where alligators and crocodiles live together? It's pretty cool, huh? We made our way down to the Keys, where I knocked out a bucket list item, which was snorkeling in coral reefs. I loved getting to snorkel in the reefs and seeing all the different fish and species. It was super cool. The next big trip was in April. I flew to Colorado and met up with my parents and brother, and then we drove to Las Vegas and then on to Phoenix. We were able to hit 8 national parks along the way, which is a record for me in one trip. The first park we hit was Rocky Mountain National Park. This is my 5th time visiting the park, but it was the first time we've all been in a national park together as a family. We hiked the Seven Bridges Trail in Colorado Springs as well, and I climbed the incline in Manitou Springs, which is a 2,744-step trail straight up the side of a mountain. While we were in Colorado, I got the opportunity to rock climb with my brother and his friend. This was the first time I got to rock climb on a real wall, and it was definitely the highlight of the trip. I have to say, it was pretty tough letting go as Kyle belayed me down from the top. We had to part ways with Kyle as we made our way to Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. There I got a backcountry permit to hike down to the bottom of the canyon. It was pretty steep going down, and there was a couple sections that required you to rappel down using a chain. This was definitely a pretty fun hike. It was definitely worth making it all the way to the bottom of the canyon. From the Black Canyon, we made our way to Moab, Utah, where we visited both Canyonlands and Arches National Parks. We didn't have much time for Canyonlands, but we did get to see the Mesa Arch, which is one of the main features in the park. We spent the next day in Arches National Park, where we met some disappointing weather in the morning. It cleared up in the afternoon and we got to see some of the 2,000 arches in the park. Some of the arches we got to see were Double Arch, the North and South Window Arches, Turret Arch, Landscape Arch, which is one of the widest in the park, Double O Arch, which is just a little ways past Landscape Arch, and of course, Delicate Arch, which is probably the most famous in the park, and is featured on Utah's license plate. This park didn't disappoint, and is on my list for a return visit. Next we headed to Capitol Reef Park, which features several slot canyon hikes I wanted to check out. Slot canyons are formed over many years of eroding the canyon walls, which are made up of soft sandstone and limestone, which is very prevalent in this region. We didn't have time to do as many hikes as I'd like, but I definitely want to get back to the park and check them all out. Just a short drive from Capitol Reef was Bryce Canyon. Here we hiked the Navajo Loop Trail, which is located in the Bryce Amphitheater. Out of all the hikes I've done in the national parks, this is one of my favorite. It's not very challenging, but sure is some beautiful scenery that you're not going to want to miss. Zion was up next, and we got to spend some time with Leah, who's my mom's cousin, and her husband Chuck. They only live around 30 minutes from the park. They took us out in their Jeep, which had no problem navigating the treacherous road on the way to Observation Point. Observation Point has to be one of the best views in all of Zion. This really was an incredible hike. We also checked out Kolob Canyon, which is a portion of the park that I've never been to, even in my 6 times visiting Zion. After a night in Las Vegas, we made our last stop in Death Valley National Park in California. We got to see Badwater Basin, which is the lowest point in North America. The next trip was back to Colorado, where my friend Nick and I met up with his cousin Michael, and we visited Rocky Mountain Park. While we were there, we climbed 2 14,000-foot mountains. The first was Gray's Peak at 14,278 feet. Then its neighbor Torrey's Peak at 14,267 feet in the same day. These are my 3rd and 4th 14 years of climbing Colorado. Shortly after Colorado, I ran my first marathon of the year in Appleton, Wisconsin. I finished 84th overall at 3 hours, 53 minutes, and 41 seconds, less than a minute off my personal best time. It wouldn't be long though until I had a chance to beat my time. It'd actually be exactly 1 week. But there was a trip to Washington State in the middle. Anna, her dad Mark, and I took a trip to visit Olympic National Park. Anna and Mark also went on to visit Mount Rainier Park, while I went back to run my second marathon in Eau Claire. Finishing the Eau Claire Marathon was pretty special for me, as my first race ever was in Eau Claire, the half marathon in 2018. If you would have told me that I'd be running 2 full marathons in 7 days, I wouldn't have believed you. But running sure has had a big impact on my life. I finished the Eau Claire Marathon with a personal best time, 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 46 seconds. I have to give a big shout out to my friend Dan for riding along during the race and encouraging me across the finish line. I went to Iowa and visited my friend Alex and his family for his 30th birthday party, and we explored downtown Des Moines. We finally got to celebrate Anna's master's graduation ceremony at Camp Randall. We celebrated my friend Ethan's wedding this year. Blue Ox was a blast. I rock climbed in Devil's Lake, which was another bucket list item, and had countless fun times with friends and family this year. I have to say 2021 was a transitional year for me, and I think a little bit for everyone. We got back to normal, at least a little bit. My relationship with Anna has been better than ever. I got to spend more time with my brother Kyle, who moved to Fond du Lac and now works with me at Mercury Marine. I got to spend lots of time with my parents, which I really hadn't had the opportunity to do since my freshman year of college. Lastly, I got to reconnect with old friends who I didn't get to see much last year due to COVID. I have to say, not everything was perfect this year. I fell short of my marathon time by about 12 minutes. I got a really bad haircut right before my Colorado trip. I didn't see as many national parks as other years. My New Year's resolution fell apart after about 2 months. But I feel like this was where I really went from surviving to thriving. I hope you had a wonderful 2021 as well, just like I did. I bet 2022 will be even better. Now here's to you for watching, and I'll see you on the trail.
Speak for the trees. Okay, tell me where we are, Annie.
We're in Olympic National Park
Where is that?
in Washington.
What day is it today?
Today is September 21st, 2021.
What's important about today?
It's our 3-year anniversary.
3 years with that? Really?
Speak for yourself. You're
It's
lucky.
been 3 years of pure bliss.
Yep.